So today, Matthew's account of the feeding of the 5,000, the one miracle story, apart from the resurrection, that appears in all four Gospels. So in that reading, Matthew, a Jew writing for Jews, there are lots of Old Testament images. We get the feeding in the desert, a bit like Exodus. We also get some early Christian things where the blessing of the bread before it's broken and offered to the crowd is pointing towards the Last Supper and the sacraments of communion that we celebrate still today. But the reading really, for me, hinges on the words that Jesus says in Matthew's Gospel specifically to the disciples: you yourselves give them something to eat. Which ties in, it seems to me, very clearly with all of the teaching that's gone before of Jesus to the disciples about what it means to be a disciple, someone who brings in the kingdom of heaven on earth, someone who talks of God to other people and showcases all that is there. You yourself give them something to eat. Not there talking about the physical solving of the problem of hunger of all those people, but of the what do they really need to sustain them. You yourselves. And it's fascinating, isn't it? Because the disciples went and got what they could, and they gave the rest, and they gave it all to God, and then God turned it into something amazing. But they sought, they found, they gathered, and they offered. And that's a great metaphor for all of us, as we realise, of course, the importance of working within God's kingdom, of proclaiming these values that are just the highest standards, that are above all: love beyond measure, equality, all those high values, that we espouse those things. But ultimately, of course, we have to give all to God, entrust all to God, be confident that God will take what we offer and bring a great bounty of love and kindness and joy to all God's people. But it is imperative upon each one of us that we play our part. You yourselves give them something to eat is a question to ask ourselves in all situations. What are we doing? What part are we playing? How are we actively bringing about the kingdom of heaven on earth? That's our calling. God is God, and God will do what God does. But what are we doing? What are we doing?